Today we're spectating a Grandmaster Hela player inside Season 2 of Marvel Rivals to see what they do better and how we can improve together. Here's our players sit or die playing Hela. And the one thing about Hela, I think, and you'll see that in this gameplay, is that she's definitely one of the best DPS in the entire game, especially at getting elims and outputting damage, right? There's only a couple of DPS that you know are always going to give you value. One is Hela, the other one is Star-Lord, the other one is kind of like Punisher as well. And the amount of elims in this game is absolutely ridiculous, especially for how high the rank of this kind of lobby is as well. And what we need to kind of understand is positioning. Obviously aim as well. Now this is a controller player, so the aim will have to be pretty good, but you do also get aim assist as well. And if you want a whole video to break down your aim and how to get better at it to play heroes like Hela, then please check out the video at the end of this one, which will break down 10 aim tips for you. But like I said, the main thing you want to use here is our primary attack. It deals insane amounts of damage, but our secondary attack, which is the one that brings out the spikes, that's great at just dealing damage to clusters of enemies. Even if you miss it, as long as you land these spikes in the ground, you're still going to get some damage. A great flank here to pick out the actual Loki. That's a great pick on the enemy team. The enemy team does do a cloak ult, which is a bit unfortunate. Gets us some insanely good high ground right here. Just raining damage down on the enemy players at the moment, which Hela outputs some insane amounts of damage. Our team kind of got wiped with a couple of ults there, which is a bit unfortunate. Dropping back now. But no one's really expecting a Hela to be up on this high ground right here. I mean, other players will be in that position, and obviously high-ranked players will know there's enemies in the air, but Hela's not one of the heroes you'd expect to be up there, right? So this guy's landing a lot of shots. Not getting tons of kills or anything like that right now. Getting a damage boost as well here now, which we might get to see some picks. Focusing on the tanks that are right in front at the moment. Emma Frost got walled off, so that was an easy pick. Could easily pick out the cloak and dagger here. If you focuses the rocket ult, but I was going to say focus the rocket ult, but then the Emma Frost also ulted, so it's a good drop back right there. We don't want to stay in the fight when there's two ults on the enemy team going on, so that was good repositioning by our player. Trying to pick out the right Loki, so we had a lot of patience and waiting there. Everyone wants to shoot at that point, but this is where the game sense comes in. As soon as we notice one of the players moving, that is the real Loki, right? Because the clones cannot move. So the smart play would be to not move when you're using your clones as Loki, but obviously that is easier said than done depending on what's happening. Good position for the ultimate, but unfortunately it was popped a bit too early, or it wasn't really necessary, to be honest, at this point in time. Just try to destroy cover, see if you can see anything, but I think that was not really a necessary pop of the ultimate there. Landing good shots on the group. Landing shots on tanks with Hela is super easy, man. And Hela's a character that I'm using more and more often, especially as you climb the ranks. You just realize how much damage output she has, and that she can output way more damage than healing gets output in this game. That's why she's so valuable. She got healed through that, which was definitely quite useful. Stayed alive here. Got a flank on the enemy team, and her Groot had an ultimate there, and then we're trying to team that up with the walls of the Groot. Staying on the high ground once again, obviously good positioning with sit or die at the moment. Landed the final hit on Mr. Fantastic. So the enemy teams gave up a lot of space at this point. I think they were waiting to kind of regroup and then obviously hold a certain angle, because certain angles are more powerful than others on the maps once you get to know them. So they're trying to hold this lane here, which is a lot tighter than basically trying to hold a bit before this. But again, she's dropping back a bit now because her team's getting pushed by the enemy tanks. One of her supports are way too far in the fight at the moment, which is the cloak and dagger. The Groot has died, but he's now coming back from spawn. And I don't even know where the rocket is on their team. Just trying to get a pick or two, which is obviously a bit difficult at the moment. Hela's great at range attacks, which obviously is what she excels at, of course. So you can still do damage and get picks at range if you keep your distance well enough, right? Trying to team up with her Groot right there. She'll probably deal a bit of damage, then pop the ultimate. Exactly, right? That is what I expected to happen. And it was good timing because the low-key lamps were finished as well at that point. But now we've got the rocket ultimate going as well to save the team. So it wasn't as much value as it could have been. Destroys the respawn beacon, which is definitely something you need to keep an eye out for. We're at overtime now, so she's sitting behind on this high ground, waiting to just get a couple of picks. Picks the Loki again, really good target priority on that Loki. Always picking out the right one, never shooting the clones. Gets the Mr. Fantastic now. We've got a couple of enemy players out of position now. Our Loki used his lamps to save us with that Groot ult. And now we can get an easy pick on the rocket, which the flanks of this player are insane. Hela's not one of the best flanking heroes in the game, but the way they're positioning to try and flank, and especially with the amount of damage Hela can do, that flank is deadly, man. So positioning, good target priority, and just those flanks are insane. 1v1ing the Namor, and this is a Hela win pretty much 90% of the time unless Namor has a squid. Unfortunately, no heals at the moment, but we get the heals now. And the Namor uses bubble to escape that, obviously, because as soon as you're low HP, everyone bubbles as Namor. Picks the Namor anyway. Fighting the Doctor Strange, the shields are up at the moment. I've Agamotto'd, managed to phase through that because if you use the kind of teleport, you don't get hit with the Agamotto. This would be a better ultimate use. She could destroy the rocket ultimate now. It's getting blocked by the Strange, which is a bit unfortunate. She was getting healed up throughout that as well while she was taking damage, which is a bit annoying, but that can happen with Hela. That's the kind of main way to block her, is with Doctor Strange's shield. And everyone knows that counter now as well. We've got the long walk back to the fight, which is a bit annoying, of course. Trying to get picks as our team's Winter Soldier has got his ultimate. And he does go down, unfortunately, during his ultimate. Trying to get back on at the point here as we're in overtime. We do need to pick out the supports at this point in time. But our team is holding the point pretty well. The Thing's doing a good job of kind of solo tanking at the moment. And now back on focusing these supports. And turning around to help. At this point, she should just melee. Hela's melee is actually pretty decent at cutting through Strange's shield. So there's no point in constantly just using your primary fire when a shield's out. Use the melee attack. You'll get a decent amount of damage in. And you might even get a quick finish on someone that's super low HP. Using the teleport again to get away from Mr. Fantastic's ultimate. And focusing again on the supports, which we're doing a really good job of. And we've got our rocket team up now with his ultimate. Trying to output as much damage as possible now is what we need to do whilst we've got this damage buff with us. Loki's using his lamps as well. Keep the whole fight going. Keep the team fight alive. Mr. Fantastic will be dead after this because he's by himself. The magic's flanking as well, but we managed to take the magic out too. So it's absolutely insane. Our player here is doing a really good job of picking the right targets at the right time, like I said before. And Hela's gameplay is not flashy at all, but it is efficient. That is what I would say Hela is as a character. Not a lot of people would like to play Hela because she's, like I said, not a flashy character. But when it comes to just getting elims and dealing damage, man, she is definitely one of the best. Possibly even the best, if I'm being honest. And I quite like playing Hela when you know the team is not dying and you just need that insane amount of damage output. Ultimate's really good as well if it's not getting blocked by the Strange shield, which our Strange will try and do again. As you can see here, he's trying to block it off, but he misses this time. So we can get a couple of picks with our ultimate there. Strange is dead. Groot might die here too, but our supports are getting dived on, so we need to do a bit of peeling at this moment in time. Unfortunately, our PO gets cut short by the Groot ulting on us. And now we're looking at getting this Mr. Fantastic out as well. So Mr. Fantastic stays alive far too long in my opinion, especially with the amount of mobility he has. Tanks are obviously very slow for the most part, but Mr. Fantastic moves really quickly, and the fact that he can harass your backline just the way he does is something you need to keep an eye on. Got the damage buff again, so we should be focusing on someone that's not Mr. Fantastic at that point, because of course he's going to stay alive throughout that when he's in his penguin mode. Groot will die here. And then we've got magic on us as well. And the bubble obviously stops any of the movement abilities from happening. It's kind of like almost stun, but it kind of sucks enemies towards it. So that's kind of how that works. Now, the crazy thing about this is that we can't really afford to lose the point here as we're on overtime. So we at least need to have a couple of our teammates sitting on point. So we can't really push too far away from the payload, or if anyone stops it, then the game is pretty much over. So even though we're sitting in overtime, we managed to get a solid push on as well. So we're now focusing on the Mr. Fantastic, who you can kill in this form. And we managed to cancel his ultimate, which is insane. Orbed the magic, and as you can see, our Hela player is keeping the orb for those dive style heroes to suck them in closer so that we cannot allow them to use their combos, because Magic has combos, Black Panther has combos, Spider-Man has combos, but that orb ability will stop basically any of those movement combos on the enemy team. Picking out some players here from the backline. The aim and the focus is that she's supporting her team insanely well, and we're getting healed up by our cloak and dagger now. And again, peeling for our supports here, but peeling at range, right? She could have went a bit closer here, but she's holding a good position too, because she can't stay too far away from the payload. So it's a bit... Now that we're halfway through the video, if you are enjoying it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as we do like to spectate high level players and low level players and any world records in between that. When it comes to Hela, I think she's one of the best DPS in the game, especially at outputting damage and getting elims and supporting your team. Definitely a hero I recommend learning, because she is pretty much always meta as well, and we could see that within this gameplay. And we've learned some new things that we can also flank with Hela too, which is something I never really thought of. But let's get straight back into it. On the defending side now, and we're waiting for the enemy team to come out their spawn, and we're holding this area instead of holding right up super close. And you'll notice that more and more in the kind of higher ranked games, where we hold better positions and allow the team to have their spawn and let them get out, because you're more likely to lose the fight if you don't hold the correct position than if you do hold the correct position and give up a little bit of the space as well. So we're holding this point, sitting back. We're with our Loki here in the back line, just outputting bits of damage, poke damage to the enemy team at the moment. We've just spotted a flank as well. There we go, the magic. Use the orb again on the magic. We'd missed it that time, but regardless, that is what we want to be saving the orb for, like I said before. And we're now, again, the Groot is kind of blocking off a lot of our lines of sight at the moment, which is a bit annoying. So obviously we need to destroy the walls. By the time we destroy the walls, he's got another one ready to go to block off more of our damage. So it's something you need to keep in mind, or take a better position. So maybe going on high ground now would be a better time to do that for this Hela, because the walls are just coming out constantly, and they've also got a Magneto as well now. So those projectile damage shots are going to be a lot more difficult to land when we're a lot closer, first of all, but also when we're getting lines of sight cut off. So we need to get into better positions to be able to deal as much damage as we can and pick out the backline like we were doing before. Good ultimate use here, good picks, pretty much got 3 picks with the ultimate and a 4th one. And as you can see here, we've got Magneto out with his shields, and this is kind of where Hela struggles, obviously, like I said before, is that she should probably try and get some variation of high ground here to kind of shoot past the shields instead of having to destroy them constantly, because you're wasting ammo. By the time you've destroyed the shields, you need to reload. That wastes some more time, and then by the time then they've got another shield and another Magneto shield as well and group walls. So you kind of just want to shoot past them, not necessarily always have to destroy them. We got a damage boost on the Magneto ult on the enemy team, but it didn't really do too much. We're holding a good spot here now, and pushed up a little bit closer. She's trying to get her picks in the enemy backline like we were doing before. If you stand on the payload, by the way, Squirrel Girl's ultimate does no damage, so just stand on top of the payload and you won't take any damage from it whatsoever. That's a quick tip, whether you're attacking or defending. So just stand on top of the payload, you stay alive, and that'll be an easy way to stay alive. And we've got an enemy team Invisible Woman ultimate now. We're trying to phase away from the magic that's diving us. We can use the orb if we need it right now, which we will place on the magic probably again. But the enemy team has a Luna ultimate, which is going to take a lot to deal damage through, but we've popped the ultimate in good time because Luna ultimate will be done now. But they had a rocket ultimate to go as well, so we waited for the Luna ult to finish to pop our ultimate, but the rocket ultimate also saved that enemy team. Only need to hold the point for 10 seconds right now. Obviously there will be some overtime because the enemy team is on the point. So if we do get any sort of team wipe here, we've basically won the round. Picking the Luna Snow, that's what she's trying to focus right now. Good focus, good teleport, and we're getting healed up, which is what we like. Another Invisible Woman ult here, and they've got 3 supports on the enemy team at the moment, and we only have 2 supports, or we've got 3 supports as well actually with the cloak and dagger. So we're back to triple support meta, unfortunately. So the enemy team's managed to push up slightly a bit more here. The Magic's used their ultimate. We could orb that, to be fair, and it'll stop her moving around a bit. But we've got another Luna ultimate. This Luna's had her ultimate like so many times, man. I feel like this game has just far too many ultimates, like constantly. I wish the ultimates were slowed down a little bit as a general whole, so we don't have ultimates popping off just like every 2 seconds in this game. That's just me personally. Another Squirrel Girl ultimate here, but we could have stood on the point or the teleport. That got us away as well. Picked out the Invisible Woman. Magneto's gone. We've got a flanker right. So there we have it. That's our player Sit or Die, who goes 52 and 6 with 44k damage. Now what I want to point out with Hela is that she's very efficient when it comes to getting elims, and one of the best heroes in the game at getting elims, and that's what you want to use when you want to use your damage very well to make sure that that's outputting kills and not just soaking up damage into tanks, for example. And after loads and loads of overtime, you will rack up a 44k number like this. But like I said, efficiency is key here with this type of hero. But if you enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.